Normal PPD. 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 2 to 4, 3 to 5. What's the normal PPD here? A, B, C, or D? Normal PPD. How can you say if we are suspecting for perio, ano na yung PPD ng patient? So normal PPD would be letter B, 1 to 3 millimeter. Once it reaches 4 mm, then you are now suspecting for perio. The question now is, lahat ba ng 4 mm would have periodontitis? The answer is no. Not all PPD that measures 4 mm would have periodontitis because you can also have pseudo pockets, right? Before you perform your periodontal therapy, you need to perform initial scaling and polishing to eliminate the pseudo pocket. And pseudo pocket would measure around 1 millimeter. Okay, so eliminate the pseudo pockets first, right? 24. The instrument best suited to remove heavy supragingival calculus. Scaler, file, curette, or hoe. Instrument used to remove heavy supragingival calcular deposit. What's your answer? Mali yung answer ko dito. Dapat letter D, hoe. The answer should be hoe. Diba? Gross removal of the supragingival calculus should be letter D. Pakinote na lang. Letter D. It should be hoe, as we have discussed earlier. All right? Hoe is not included there. Then the answer would be letter A, scalar. All right? Number 25. When performing subgingival curettage, which of the following is necessary to assure successful treatment? Ito. Ang ganda yung question na yan. When performing subgingival curettage, which of the following is necessary to assure successful treatment? What would you answer here? Removal of CEJ? Tatanggalin mo yung CEJ ng tooth? Removal of the pocket epithelium? Placement of periodontal pack? Removal of gingiva? Tanggalin mo yung gums, bone na lang siya. Okay? So first thing, not all cases of non-surgical root planing would need periodontal dressing application. So this one is not included. This one is also not true. Okay? You're left with B and D. This one is not true. Letter B. Look at the question here. It says here, subgingival curettage. So this is a very old question. It is a very old question na siguro. Because for this one, this is pertaining to gingival curettage. Okay? It's pertaining to gingival curettage. That's why it says here, removal of pocket epithelium. Remember earlier, I mentioned to you that previously they believed that you need to perform gingival curettage together with your non-surgical root planing. Lang doon here in the sulcus epithelium. Okay. However, this is not true anymore. We don't if we don't perform gingival curettage just by achieving a glass-like finish here in the cementum, removing the diseased part of the cementum together with the deposits, you'll be able to achieve healing through long junctional epithelium formation. Okay, so no need to perform gingival curettage. However, this is how you perform gingival curettage. You're scraping the gingiva. Okay. 26. Circular fibers are present in the circular fibers. So what's your answer here? C. What about the others? Do you agree? Letter C. These are also your circumferential fibers. So tama, letter C, free gingiva and encircle the tooth. Letter C. Okay? These are the major collagen fiber groups. You have your circular fibers, dentogingival fibers, dentoperiosteal fibers, and transeptal fibers. So basically, when you say circular fibers, it would encircle the tooth. Okay, that's your circular fibers. Encircles the neck of the root. Dentogingival, from the word dento, tooth, gingiva, from tooth to gingiva. Okay, cementum, and projects outward towards the gingiva. You have your dentoperiostral tooth and bone, dentoperiosteal, okay? And transeptal, cementum to cementum attachment, right? 27. The true pockets are most likely seen in patients with, so true pockets. I'm sure you can answer that one. And makikita yung true pockets. Diba? We've differentiated pseudo pockets from true pockets yesterday. So periodontitis, you'll be able to see true pockets on patients with periodontitis. Okay? So the primary source of inorganic content of the supragingival plaque is primary source. Ito medyo mahirap. Siguro naman walang answer ng toothpaste. Meron sasagot ng toothpaste. Hindi na. Tanggalin natin si toothpaste. Okay? So the primary source of your inorganic content of your supragingival plaque is your saliva. Correct. Okay? It's the saliva. Okay? 29. Cementum found in the apical portion of the root. You should only have two choices there. Pag may sumagot ng fibrillar and afibrillar, uwi na tayo. Okay? So it should only be cellular and acellular. So the answer is, so the one found on the apical area is the cellular cementum. It's very easy. Okay? It's a very easy question. Giveaway question. Okay? And number 30, 29, 30. 30 na. And 30. What accounts for the stippling phenomenon? What causes stippling of the gingiva? Fluid exchange, retipegs, keratinization, interdental call. And correct. It's the presence of the retipegs. Okay? How deep yung projections of the retipegs. So these are your retipegs. So that's a stippling. Okay? Yan yung nire-recreate ninyo sa CD ninyo, di ba? Pagandahan ng festooning. Kahit pangit yung kahit pangit yung tooth setup, basta maganda yung festooning, di ba? Daanin natin sa festooning. Okay? Galit na galit yung gums ng patient ninyo. Okay? So so the retipegs are this one. Okay? Those are your retipegs. Yung picture dyan, mas maganda. There. So that's the retipegs. So it would depend on how they are projected. Okay, so the presence of or absence of stippling would depend on these retipegs here. Retipegs are also known as your epithelial ridges. So if in the exam you weren't able to see the term retipegs, these are also known as your epithelial ridges. Okay, that's the other term. And remember that oral epithelium has retipegs, while the sulcular as well as the junctional epithelium does not contain retipegs. Retipegs are lacking in the junctional and the oral sulcular epithelium. However, in the presence of disease, sulcular epithelium would somehow form retipegs. Okay? So, sabi dito, the greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. So ano ibig sabihin niyan? Ano ibig sabihin niyan? Dapat hindi mababa yung goal ninyo in life, di ba? Um, some dentists, after graduating, after passing the exam, they would be enrolling on preceptorship programs. Di ba? Some would enroll on preceptorship programs that would offer orthodontics, okay, for 6 meetings only. 6 meetings, may certificate ka na for ortho. What would you learn in 6 meetings? They would be paying 100 plus thousand for that training. Diba? So choose your preceptorship programs. Piliin ninyo naman, hindi yung enroll lang kayo na enroll, okay? Check ninyo how long, diba, would you learn from this preceptorship or not? Is it worth your time, worth your effort, worth your money? Okay? Hindi yung you're just enrolling for the certificate. Bahala na. May certificate ako. But you also need to, because you not look on our patients. Okay? So I will be continuing on with the last item analysis. This is very fast lang, around 50 slides lang. And most of which we have already discussed in the previous um, item analysis. Okay, so I was only able to finish 15 items last night. Okay. Play. So this was from the November 2025 dental board examination. Okay, so number one, I wait lang. So what do you call the motion of a piezoelectric ultrasonic? Piezoelectric, di ba we have two types, piezoelectric and magnetostrictive. So what's the motion of your piezoelectric? Linear, elliptical, circular, transverse wave. What do you think is the answer here? So the answer would be letter A, linear, correct. Okay, linear vibration, right? So that's the comparison of your piezoelectric and magnetostrictive. Your magnetostrictive would have an elliptical or circular. Look at the other terms that they use. Linear or back and forth. Ito, elliptical or circular. Okay? Kasi they won't be using the term elliptical. They're looking for the term elliptical. What they use pala is circular. Okay? This one is linear or back and forth. They have the same frequency, 20,000 to 45,000 hertz. Right? So only the lateral surfaces are active in piezoelectric and all the surfaces are active in magnetostrictive. A patient presents with red swollen gums that bleed on brushing. What is the most likely diagnosis here? So there's bleeding whenever the patient brushes his teeth. Anong diagnosis natin doon? Most likely, gingivitis, okay? Inflammation of the gums. Gingivitis. So what is leukoplakia? What is the difference between leukoplakia from lichen planus? Kasi both are white lesions. Okay? So leukoplakia is a white lesion. They are not painful. Okay? And they cannot be scraped. Okay? They cannot be scraped. cannot be scraped off. Lichen planus cannot be scraped off also. Okay. However, leukoplakia is a precancerous lesion. Precancerous lesion. Okay. Lichen planus is an immune mediated condition. Mediated condition. Okay. Leukoplakia can be caused by chronic irritation to the area. Okay, like tobacco or ano pa ba, alcohol. So which among the two, pareho silang white lesion, white lesion, white lesion. Which among the two would present an annular lace-like pattern? Which among the two would have an annular lace-like pattern? Is it the leukoplakia or the lichen planus? Lace-like pattern is found on lichen planus. And what do you call that lace-like pattern? Wickham's striae, very good. It's called your Wickham's striae. Okay, so you need to remember this one, right? So talking about the white spot lesion, what white spot lesion can be scraped off or can be rubbed off? Kasi both of which cannot be rubbed off or cannot be scraped off. So what white spot lesion can be scraped off? Cannot din si lichen. Ano yung can be? Candidiasis caused by your Candida albicans. Okay? It's a fungal infection. So what would you prescribe to your patient who has Candida albicans, ay candidiasis? What medication? Nystatin, antifungal or nystatin. All right? Number 3, during periodontal probing, bleeding is noted but no attachment loss is. So what's your diagnosis? No attachment loss but there's bleeding. Dugo pag nag-probe. There is 3 lang yun. Bleeding but no attachment loss. That's the answer here. Letter B, gingivitis. Okay. 4, patient complains of tooth mobility and deep periodontal pockets. What condition is most likely? Mobile in tooth and deep pockets. Earlier, bleeding on probing, no attachment loss. This time around, there's deep pockets. So that is your periodontitis. Okay. Let me just differentiate periodontitis versus chronic apical periodontitis or your CAP. Most of the time when you perform tooth extraction, this is your diagnosis most of the time, CAP, right? Both terms would have periodontitis on their name. That is periodontitis, chronic periodontitis, aggressive periodontitis. The other one, chronic apical periodontitis. So what's the difference here? Periodontitis means there is inflammation of the periodontium. Okay? Both of which would involve bone loss. May bone loss sila pareho. However, the location of bone loss varies. Okay? So in periodontitis, be it chronic or aggressive periodontitis, where is the bone loss? Where does it start? Bone loss starts or happens on the alveolar crest. Diba? Bone loss is here. But in chronic apical periodontitis, it says here apical periodontitis, bone loss happens or starts here in the apical area. Okay, but they are two different conditions. Okay, two different diseases. What about your AAP? Acute apical periodontitis. What's the difference between CAP from AAP? The only difference between CAP from AAP is the presence or absence of pain. Is the tooth painful or not? So patient came to your clinic presenting with a badly broken tooth and wants to have the tooth extracted. Okay. When you ask the patient if the tooth is painful, the patient said no. So what's your diagnosis now? It is CAP. But when you ask the patient if the tooth is painful and the patient would say yes, diagnosis would be AAP. Okay. What could have caused the pain being felt by the patient? Is it the pulp that caused the pain? Pulpitis ba yung nag-cause ng pain? Hindi. Di ba? Kasi the pulp here is already necrotic. Beds na yung tooth. The tooth is already non-vital. So what could have caused the pain? Why is it that a root fragment is suddenly painful? What do you think? Ba't kaya masakit yung tooth? It's a root fragment and suddenly it's painful. The pressure build up. Very good. There's a pressure build up. The pus is not able to drain. That's why there are some cases wherein you would be able to observe that there's a pimple-like area dun sa gums ng patient. Di ba? Parang may pimple. What do you call that pimple-like structure on the gums? The fistula or the sinus tract. Sinus tract or the fistula. Okay? That's the drainage of pus. So once the pus is able to drain, then the tooth would be free of pain na. The patient would be free from pain. There's no pain being felt anymore. Okay? So presence or absence of the pain. Most of the time, if the tooth is painful, if it's AAP, we do not proceed with extraction because it can interfere with the profoundness of our anesthetic solution. Hindi tayo nag-exo. Hindi tatalab yung anesthesia. Okay? Anesthesia will not be profound because the area is acidic. Number 5, primary cause of periodontal disease. Ulit-ulit siya, no? Pero iba lang yung way of pagkaka-deliver. So primary cause of periodontal disease. The answer would be trauma from occlusion, dental plaque. It's always plaque. Okay? It's always plaque. If you're asked for the cause of gingivitis, if you're asked for the cause for periodontitis, the answer always is plaque, biofilm, bacteria, gram-negative bacteria, anaerobic, okay, microorganism. Those are the possible answers. Okay? They may be asked in the exam several ways, but the answer is always plaque. Okay? Parang nung board exam namin, when I took the board exam, I think we're the only batch who took the practical exam for radiographic interpretation. So in our batch, we have radiographic interpretation, so practical exam. So we are shown radiographs that are of poor quality, picture ng radiograph, poor quality, then we would be answering. As in, identification. Puro cyst yung answer. Okay? Puro cyst lang yung answer dun sa question. Anyway, number 6. What is the least reliable indicator of gingivitis? Least reliable would be, of course, stippling. stippling is the least reliable indicator. Okay. 7. If a patient has an aggressive periodontitis and is allergic to penicillin, what medication should the patient take? Ito, maganda yung question. Patient is allergic to penicillin. So what should be given to the patient? You should only have two options there. Diba? Either B or C, because amoxicillin is penicillin. Ayun nga, tinan mo. Silin. Silin. And they do not prescribe that. Diba? So B or C. The answer here is letter B, doxycycline. That's tetracycline. Okay? So let's explain. Amoxicillin, as you already know, is bactericidal. Doxycycline is bacteriostatic. Okay? Cephalexin is bactericidal. Okay? Amoxicillin is a penicillin. It's a penicillin. Okay? Penicillin class antibiotic. Okay? And it is contraindicated if the patient is allergic to penicillin. Doxycycline is a tetracycline antibiotic. Okay? It is commonly used in the treatment of periodontitis. Okay? Because of its ability to inhibit collagenase. Okay? It inhibits collagenase. Okay? And also, doxycycline is able to reduce inflammation. What about cephalexin? Okay? Cephalexin is a cephalosporin. Cephalosporin. Okay? Basically, it has a potential for cross reactivity in patients who are allergic to penicillin. So most of the time, if the patient is allergic to penicillin, we do not prescribe cephalexin because there can be cross-reactivity. Okay? So doxycycline. Number 8. What type of periodontitis does not respond to treatment? This one's also very easy. Periodontitis that does not respond to treatment. Reduced periodontium, recurrent periodontitis, refractory periodontitis, aggressive periodontitis. The answer is refractory. Correct. Very good. Okay. It does not respond to treatment. Recurrent, you were able to control periodontitis. However, after some time, there's recurrence of the disease. Okay? Bumalik yung periodontitis ni patient. Reduced periodontium, on the other hand, if this is the tooth, patient has periodontitis, okay, there's bone loss already, and you were able to control periodontitis. Of course, the bone will not revert back to its normal area, normal level, okay? So this is your reduced periodontium. So you can have, let's say, inflammation of the gingiva here. There's inflammation of the gingiva on a patient who has a history of periodontitis. What would be your diagnosis? There's no attachment loss. There's no pocket formation. It's just that the gingiva is inflamed. What would be your diagnosis here? It's gingivitis, pero incomplete yung diagnosis mo. So what's the complete diagnosis? It's gingivitis on a reduced periodontium. Okay, that would be your diagnosis. Gingivitis on a reduced periodontium. That's a proper term. All right. Number 9, what is the best antibiotic combination for gum infection? I have mentioned this already earlier. Best antibiotic combination. What do we usually prescribe as a combination drug? Metronidazole is one. So it's Amox and Metro. Okay, Amox and Metro. So that is the dosage. Okay, Amox and Metro. 250 milligrams 3 times a day for 8 days. So both drugs are bactericidal. Ano to? Hindi ko rin alam. Hindi ko na matandaan ba't nilagay ko yan. Baka mamaya. Ayan, definition of bactericidal, it kills the bacteria. Bacteriostatic, it stops the growth of bacteria. Okay. Bactericidal versus bacteriostatic, let's discuss. Bactericidal, it kills the bacteria. The antibiotic kills the bacteria. Bacteriostatic, the bacteria are not killed. Instead, they are prevented from multiplying further. Okay, that's bacteriostatic. Bacteria are not killed. Instead, they are prevented from multiplying further. So it's the immune response of the patient who is responsible for killing the remaining bacteria. All right? Number 10. Which of the following species of Streptococci is usually not found in human dental plaque? We have answered this question already earlier. Still remember the answer? Not found sa human dental. S. pyogenes. Streptococcus pyogenes. Okay? And what is the pioneer? Pioneer colonizer. You still remember? What bacteria yung pioneer colonizer? Initial colonizer or early colonizer? S. sanguis or S. sanguinis. Okay? So 5 questions na lang. What is the most important factor in order to prevent recurrence of a treated periodontal disease? How would you prevent recurrence? Daily brushing, going to the dentist every year, plaque control. So which one is the best answer here? Of course, it's letter B, plaque control. Okay. 12. Among the following toothbrushing techniques, which is the most efficient? Which one's the most efficient toothbrushing technique? Circular, Stillman, side to side, Charter's method. What would you answer? Diba you're looking for modified bass? Diba? So alam ko modified bass, but it's not written there. So Stillman na laki tsaka Charter. So I'm sure it's modified bass. Pero it's not written there. Wala pa rin nakahula. Letter A, sulcular. Sulcular brushing is also known as modified bass technique. Okay, so they are tricking you somehow. So you need to know the other name. Okay, so sulcular brushing is also known as your modified bass technique. Right? We have these different toothbrush methods. You have the raw, circular, horizontal. Can you still hear me? Hello, hello? Kasi sabi dito, you lost your network connection. Trying to reconnect. Wait lang ha. Ano to? For a while lang ha. Okay? Wait lang for a while. Meron pa naman ako internet. Wait lang ha, I'll just log out ha. Kasi ayun no, may ikot-ikot lang siya. Wait lang. Log in lang ulit ako ha. Okay, better. Here, let's finish this. Konti na lang. So the least effective, the least effective toothbrushing method is your roll method. Okay, roll method. Roll method is also your sweeping action. Sweeping action. Yung say sweeping action yan, ganun lang. Ganun lang siya. So sweep mo lang siya. Okay? Um, circular, okay? Circular or scrub method is also known as your phones method. Okay? Phones method, circular or scrub method. Right? Let's discuss in detail the different toothbrushing technique. So when you have your patients with periodontitis, you need to prescribe or you need to recommend the toothbrushing method specific for that patient. Okay. And for each patient, okay, we don't have a set prescribed toothbrushing method for all the patient. You need to somehow be able to identify the areas. Okay, this area you need to do BAS method or modified BAS method. On this area, you need to do charters. On this area, you need to do Stillman. So the toothbrushing method recommended for the patients are personalized depending on their condition. Okay. So BAS method, you are directing the bristles of the toothbrush here, okay, at a 45-degree angle, touching the tooth and the gums. Ganun siya. Then you would apply small vibratory motion. The problem with BAS method is that you're not able to clean the facial aspect of the tooth. Diba? Kasi you're just applying small vibratory motion there. You're not able to brush these areas. That's why they modified this one. So modified BAS technique or modified BAS method, same thing, 45-degree angle, small vibratory motion. However, this time around, they added the sweeping action. You add a sweeping action. Okay, that's why it's called modified BAS. So they added the sweeping action so that you would be able to clean also the labial side of the teeth. Okay, So this method, BAS and modified BAS, is indicated on patients without any interdental recession, absence of recession. Okay? Maganda yung gums ni patient. There's no gingival recession. However, if your patient has gingival recession on the interdental area, okay, interdental recession, you need to recommend now your Charters method. How is Charters method performed? So this time around, the bristles are oriented towards the tooth. Ayan, towards the tooth. That's the tooth. So meaning to say, if you apply a small vibratory motion here, you are also able to clean the facial aspect of the tooth. That's why there's no need to modify this technique. Wala siyang modified Charters. We don't have modified Charters. Okay? Again, indicated for patients with interdental recession. Next is your Stillman's method. If you look at the orientation of the bristles, they are similar to your modified BAS and BAS technique. However, the bristles are adapted more towards the gingiva, less on the tooth. Okay? So this one is indicated for patients with recession at the mid-buccal or lingual. Earlier, balik tayo, recession on the interdental area, Charters. Mid-buccal and lingual recession, Stillman. However, same with your BAS technique, you're also not able to clean the facial aspect of the teeth. That's why they needed to modify this technique. They needed to add the sweeping action. Okay? So your modified Stillman, same orientation of the bristle. Oops, wala akong drawing. Same orientation of the bristle. However, they just added the sweeping action. Okay? So for a certain patient, let's say this is this is your patient. And your patient natin. Your patient has the anterior teeth has no upper anterior, no recession. Okay. Lower anterior, there's recession on the mid labial area. For the posterior, there is recession on the interdental area. So what toothbrushing technique would you recommend to your patient? Of course, you would be recommending now 3 toothbrushing technique. Tatlo. So for this area that has no recession, what would you recommend? Modified BAS. For this area, mid-labial recession, what would you recommend? Modified Stillman. For this area, interdental recession, what would you recommend? Charters. So meaning to say, you have to check the condition of the oral cavity of your patient. Which area has interdental recession? Which area has mid-buccal recession? And which area